How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I'm your host, FaZe Crypto, and today we are going to be talking about HoloChain. Of course, this is a pretty important cryptocurrency to be talking about. A lot of people have been hyping up HoloChain lately, especially after the recent pump that we saw. And of course, we're going to be talking about all this and more in this upcoming video. So, stay tuned, for that stuff you guys love, that crypto talk. I think that this is a pretty awesome time to be in the cryptocurrency space and have this opportunity to basically look at all these different options. And one of the really key contenders in the space that's coming up to contend with the $5,105 Bitcoin at the current time of the 172 market cap. Of course, it would be HoloChain, something like this, essentially bringing in a whole new way of looking at how we perceive blockchain technology. And I think a lot of people who are in the cryptocurrency space, and in particular people who are basically just involving themselves with doing research onto these things, haven't quite entirely caught on to exactly how blockchain is going to really be changing and is currently changing a lot of the fundamental ways that people conduct business and everyday human interaction. But I think that it's important for people, like a lot of the fans of this channel who've essentially done their research and all these different things. I know a lot of people will comment down below talking about how they've really begun to look ahead. I mean, I think one of the key things that separates cryptocurrency people from the regular Joe Schmo is essentially the fact of the matter of people are always looking ahead for the next big thing. And I think HoloChain does posit that sort of spirit. No centralized services, no ledgers, and no middlemen, decentralization, no bottlenecks, and adoption validation. Of course, these are all very important things that we're going to be getting into. I mean, agent centric, all just sort of compiling up to one big important thing, which we've got articles coming out like another metric where HoloChain beats BTC. I mean, all these things off to the side. I mean, we don't have to sit here and essentially, I mean, we've got enough of these utopian articles. Can HoloChain project beat global warming? I mean, I think we see that sort of hyperbolic sentiment pointed at blockchain just as well when we're looking at something that posits such a dramatic shift in the way that we look at these things. But in this video, I think it would be important just to focus on how something like HoloChain and this new vision of the internet ties into realistically what we have been talking about all along on this channel, which is essentially how cryptocurrency in general is a representation of a complete and total change on the internet, and essentially the way that people use the internet and how these different things are going to be overlapping. And of course, top 10 ICOs to watch in April. We've got interesting article right here. HoloChain has built a decentralized computing network with the help of blockchain technology. HoloChain aims to distribute the network worldwide in order to achieve infinite scalable capacity through P2P networking. And I think this sentiment is a pretty winning formula, especially with the fact of the matter is, I think peer-to-peer is something that's on everybody's lips. I mean, essentially, as the cryptocurrency space continues to go through this paradigm shift where it's really going to have to mesh with the overall sentiment of the existing paradigm and sort of make itself capable of functioning to that degree. I think that it's something to be said that HoloChain is sort of ahead of the game when it comes to that effect. But of course, we've got to talk about some of these different news articles. Of course, another week, another round of crypto tidbits. Well, the Bitcoin price actually stagnated over the past week. Now, this is an interesting article talking about China Bitcoin mining ban. I'd like to hear your thoughts about that in the comment section down below. I actually heard a pretty interesting segment where somebody was saying that if China was going to completely ban Bitcoin mining, they would have done it already. But I mean, I suppose looking at recent events, it sort of invites us to reconsider that. No pun intended. But this article right here, Dutch investors lose 1.9 million due to basically Bitcoin ads, which is something that we got to look out for. I mean, the fact of the matter is that when you see this type of stuff happening, it's important to try and keep the community as healthy as possible, which is something that is going to go a long way for the cryptocurrency reputation and all these different things. But of course, maker community votes to raise stability fee, as this might not basically be relevant to everybody watching this, but I think it was important to cover. A lot of people have been contacting me. I think just showing that article on there is important. But is Ripple underpriced? Because this is interesting too. I mean, I know a lot of you are gonna be in the comment section talking about like, oh, why are you talking about XRP in a cryptocurrency video? But I mean, all jokes aside, I think Ripple is pretty relevant, just as far as seeing how the establishment and all these different things are going to be meshing. I mean, in a large sense, it is very relevant to the overall point that we're talking about when it comes to HoloChain, and how these different things are going to be pretty interesting. A lot of these different projects are ready to play an important role. But HoloChain v 0.011 alpha 1, this is interesting tweet right there. But overall, in general, I mean, I'm pretty excited about cryptocurrency. I mean, I know we basically end up coming back to that over and over again. But I mean, I'm going to stick with it. I mean, I'm still excited about where these things can go. I mean, we don't see this kind of activity anywhere else. I mean, people who are still thinking about cryptocurrency in terms of the stock market mentality are sort of behind the times. And I think it shows in certain areas, but I mean, to that same effect, I mean, to each their own. But hell, I mean, I'm still pretty excited to see how we can expect these different technologies to sort of be moving us forward into the next generation. And to that same degree, I mean, we're going to have to deal with a lot of the bumps in the road, as it were. But still, I mean, just I think we've been seeing a pretty interesting trend developing, and in that same regard, I think that there's a lot of hope at the same time. I mean, especially with a lot of the different issues that we've been seeing companies like Facebook and so forth running into, the paradigm of the internet basically coming up at full speed to that area where that sweet spot essentially of decentralization, which is another key thing that's definitely out there for HoloChain's favor. So I mean, to that same effect, I mean, it does draw my attention to stuff like Digibyte, of course, cryptos that are sort of not getting the publicity that they deserve, but I think all that's sort of subject to change with time, as we see and as we have seen in the past, and of course in the future. I say I mean, of course, in cryptocurrency there's no way of using the past to tell what's going to happen in the future, but still, I mean, this video is just my opinion. But obviously this video is just for entertainment, educational purposes only. If you guys are interested in connecting with us, that's at CryptoTuber on Twitter. I think this has been a pretty good video. We've been able to talk about a lot of pretty important things when it comes to HoloChain. And when it comes down to it, this is one of the cryptocurrencies that I'm most excited about. But of course, remember, I'm not your dad, so of course, this video is not financial advice. Make sure that you guys, go do your own due diligence on these things. And now any crypto that I'm talking about on here, of course, is for the time being, I mean, I always just like to be as transparent with as possible. And when my opinions on these things change, I'm always happy to tell you guys right away. But I mean, the way I see it is, in the short term, if there's ways to make money on any of these cryptos, then I'm pretty excited about how different ways of doing it. As far as people who have their own gripes and sort of opinions when it comes to XRP and all these different things. I mean, if it's able to be traded and you could profit and all these different things, then I mean, I don't see the problem. I mean, as far as the overall time span of these things, but I think now in regards to that timeline, what we're seeing happening, I'd say that HoloChain definitely is one of those cryptos that has the gusto to basically make it and go the distance to a large effect, and that's my opinion. But all that being said, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode of Crypto Clout, and make sure that you guys subscribe and comment down below, and of course give the video a thumbs up if you feel like you took some value away from it. All that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you've enjoyed the sentiment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.